This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Mike, good to have you on the McClarty Daniel Hotline. How you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I guess the other big news today was that Sam Pittman indicated that they're going to restructure or redo the way they do NILs. You know, he complained about it the other day after the game and said it was an issue. But now he's saying they're going to redo everything, and he's confident that they'll be able to get the players they need with the proper NIL money, and that then is coupled with the news that came out, I don't know, just within the last 30 minutes or so, that they've gotten a commitment with the number one defensive or offensive lineman in the country out of the JUCO ranks, a guy that was apparently was enrolled at Michigan State and then for whatever reason didn't play there this year and hit the portal. So I don't know if the NIL money brought him in, but that's one of the things they have to do. They got to rework that offensive line, and we'll see how good this kid is. So again, if NIL is it, and that's the whole key to recruiting and all that stuff, then I guess this is good news that they've got. And some have told me that's one of the reasons they didn't pay the buyout, was because they would rather keep some money and use it on NIL, and they think, and Hunter Yurachek thinks he can fix this thing with with the right players coming in here, and Pittman does too.
Well, and I wish Rocket Sanders well. It might be a time, Rocket have surgery and then come back next year and have that year that he wanted to have this year.
Yeah, it's possible if you've got the NIL money. Nobody said that KJ is not coming back, so I don't know about that. But, look, there are a lot of issues out there. I've been talking to boosters all morning long about different things. There's even a debate on what really happened here, because the common thread in after that announcement was made by Hunter Yurachek that Sam Pittman's job was safe, and he did that after the game on Saturday, was that, this was all about buyout money, and they didn't have it, so he waited. But then other people told me, no, look at the timing of that. He waited until after that game to make an announcement. So I guess they're saying that if they'd have lost to, Florida International, he would have still been gone. There's just so much stuff rattling around out there. But I've been told by some people that Yurachek is in good shape. You got these people on the internet saying, hey, now that Pittman's coming back, if he has to be fired next year, Yurachek will be fired. I'm told that's not true. But that probably what would happen if it got to that situation, the Board of Trustees would probably step in and make a hiring committee mandatory for the next guy. Yurachek would have to do it with the supervision of a hiring committee. So there's all that going on. I talked to a booster he was mad because he said, people like me are getting blamed because they're saying we wouldn't pay the buyout. He said, I'm not the one that made the deal with him to give him the big buyout. So, he didn't like that. There's all this stuff going on. But, the big thing is they got a game this week. And I spent last night, guys, watching the replay of that Florida-Missouri game. Missouri, under the right circumstances, is beatable. They're very good. But if Arkansas plays the way they played against Florida, I think they got at least a shot. The question is, are they going to come out like they did against Auburn? If they do that, they'll just get run over.
Most people have moved on past that game already. They'll watch it, but it's not going to change how they feel about what will happen, what should happen, or what's going to happen in the offseason. It feels to me the story is really just about the offseason now. Look, the game is the game, and we'll report on what happens in the game and give all of our opinions and all of that. The offensive lineman you mentioned, Mike, is Keyshawn Blackstock, 6'5", 315. He'd enrolled at Michigan State. I don't think he ever got on the field with Michigan State, but he was the top JUCO offensive lineman. It's interesting. One of the only two linemen they brought in last year in the portal was Amari Wiggins. He was out of JUCO. I don't think he saw the field very much. They brought in an entire defensive unit last year, Mike, to fix what ailed the team. And it feels to me like you've got to bring in not just 1, 2 linemen, maybe almost an entire line, even just to build some depth, because you might get some of these guys back, but you got to have competition for them too. To me, that's the reality of college football now. You got to be able to fix things now, and you got to throw money at those problems.
Yeah, and the consensus seems to be, from what I'm reading, that good luck, because everybody wants linemen, and they're not easy to find. There's going to be stiff competition for those that could come in here and make an immediate difference. Even if you got the money to pay them, other people have the money to pay them too. So, I mean, there's a lot of questions about next year. I agree with you. The game itself, I still think they got to be competitive in this game.
Yeah.
If they go out and if Missouri, this is Missouri, guys. You got Drinkwitz over there recruiting Arkansas's commitments. You got Missouri fans saying they're going to come in here and stripe out the game. I mean, if they come in here and they've got more fans in the stadium than Arkansas does, that's not going to look good. I don't think you can afford to just let them run over you. I don't think it means he's fired, but I think it hurts recruiting if that happened. I mean, there's a whole big blow-up after that game. You guys may be aware of. But Pittman appeared to be blaming the media for his recruiting problems because of those stories last week that he might be gone. And he pretty much implied that it was all baloney, that there was no basis for these stories. Well, there was. And we didn't have Yurachek coming out and making a statement. If he had, then none of that would have been reported. But I'm just telling you, you can blame that on the media if you want to. I'm telling you what's hurting recruiting right now is the way you played against Mississippi State. You got recruits that come into home games. They watch those games. They watched Arkansas lay an egg against Mississippi State. They watched them lay an egg against Auburn. And you can't tell me that's the media's fault.
Mike, speaking of running backs, we have 2 of them that are going to be down for this last game. Who are you starting at running back, and were you impressed with Augustive?
Yeah, I was. I think that was one of the good parts of that game. I mean, that kid came in and played, and he's fresh. That's one thing I think that helps. I think what you see is when a running back gets this late in the season and they've been knocked around and beat up, they're not as quick. They just don't have what a guy that's talented, that's been raring to play and finally gets his opportunity. So that's one of the things you want to look at in this Missouri game. I don't know if he starts, but I'm pretty sure he's going to play a lot. And so that was another big thing that came out of that game.
What else had Sam Pittman to talk about? Was it mostly about the offseason? This is his only time that he speaks to the media this week. I mean, there's no Wednesday radio show. There's no Wednesday teleconference or visiting with the media. So, I mean, this is the only day you guys get a chance to ask questions. What else went on?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet that he addressed Missouri or Drinkwitz. I'm sure he did. A guy I talked to that was going to be there today said he was going to specifically ask him about does Drinkwitz deserve to be coach of the year in the SEC, and that would give him an opportunity to compliment, the opponent. The only other thing that I recall that he said, he talked about that emotional moment when Yurachek came in the locker room and then told the players that Pittman would be back, and he said it was nice that they reacted the way they did. He said, it wasn't a big deal to me because I knew I wasn't going to be fired, but at least it let them know. And he said he doesn't. And then he said, I don't want to ever be in that position again. No kidding. Nobody wants to.
Mike, basketball team has a tournament. You're going to be watching the Battle for Atlantis. What are your thoughts there? You think they can win that?
Yeah, I don't know if they'll win it, but yeah, this is exciting. Look, the way I look at that loss to UNC Greensboro. You just had a bunch of guys looking ahead, I think, and I think you also combine the fact that I think it really hurt that you had a player out with a back problem, an inside guy out, and then you have this Mekhi Mitchell. I mean, we all know that he's really good at times, and he disappears, and he got in foul trouble, and that put everything on Brazil, and he's not really a defensive inside guy if he's the only one. So I think that was an issue. I think UNC Greensboro, I looked at their stats. They didn't necessarily shoot over their heads. I mean, they're pretty good. They're a pretty good shooting team, but I think Arkansas shot very poorly in that game. And anybody that understands basketball knows that if you have a night when you're not shooting, one of your guys is out, one of your inside players is out, another one gets in foul trouble, you can have problems. So we'll see now. And I think they probably were looking ahead. I would. If I had this big thing coming up in the Bahamas and you got this one game you got to play, I've already got my mind on going to the Bahamas, man. That's a heck of a trip.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.